All right, so let's talk about value. We all know sometimes plants can be rather expensive. Even if you're purchasing them off of the clearance racks, they can still be pretty pricey. However, what we should understand from our growers is that they always give you special treats. So I can assure you, even though we don't feel like the pricing is fair, there's a lot of value when you buy a plant. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you purchase a plant, you're actually purchasing a bouquet. It's multiple flowers, multiple plants. That's what makes it look big, bushy, and beautiful. What you can do is actually check. Now, this doesn't apply to all plants. Obviously, if you buy a tree, you're probably not going to have multiple trees in there. But when you buy something, say for instance, like this Gerbera daisy, there's usually more than one plant in the pot. So what I want you to look at here, this is actually a Gerbera daisy that I bought from clearance. I bought it from Lowe's. I'm not associated with any of these brands. I'm just telling you where I shop and the stuff that I use. Just that simple. Now, this Gerbera daisy was on sale. It was on clearance. It was obviously wilted. I wanted to get to it before they watered it. Sometimes they do water the clearance plants, but you can see with this plant, it was originally $16.98 on clearance. I believe with taxes, the total, it came out to about $9. So keep that in mind. Let's just call it $10. Now, keep that $10 in mind. Check this out. It's completely wilted. It does have a flower. It's not even in bad shape as far as I'm concerned. It is on its way to being root bound. But what we want to do here is check and see where the plants separate. And what I mean by that, you want to look for any demarcation points. You'll notice where the plants grow out and where they stop growing. So we want to look for the spots of where the plants are radiating from. Even though you can't really see too much here, I'll show you later here in the video. This is actually 3 different plants. So you can separate these plants, put them in a separate pots, and now you have 3 Gerbera daisies that you can let grow. They grow relatively quick, so it's not a bad project to have. And again, you're going to expand your plants and get more value from your plants. So let's make sure we thank our growers in nurseries, please. So with this, it is dry. We're going to separate this. When it's dry like this, water the plant. I've seen one of the harshest videos ever not too long ago, and I was grinding my teeth. This person was separating the plant while it was completely dry, and I don't know what world you live in, but dry friction is never good friction. So give yourself about 10 minutes. It probably won't even take that long. Soak the plant, water the plant, just make sure it's hydrated before you start ripping the roots apart. So we're gonna give this lady a few minutes to get some moisture, and then we'll come back to it while I sit here and play with her hair. Now, what you see me doing here is finding those radiation points. Where are the plants radiating from so that I can separate them properly? So I find the points, and all I'm going to do after it's been moist, it has been watered, and all I'm going to do after we've hydrated the plant a little bit, so that way the soil's easier to move, the roots aren't clinging to one another, that moisture will help them release from other roots. So you don't want to damage your roots doing this. So please hydrate the plant before you do this. Now what I'm going to do here is grab this first little ponytail, and then I'm just going to pull outwards. Obviously you don't want to pull inward, you want to pull outwards, and it will separate. Now watch. Voila, that's one Gerbera daisy. And here you can see it's still a little dry inside, so I was a little concerned with that, but we did get it moist enough for the majority of the roots to actually separate. So now we have 2 plants left in this big piece. Let me go ahead and separate her hair here again. Yes, babe, let me hold your hair back. And voila, you see how the root came out without being stuck and holding on to the other roots due to being dry? That's what you want. The roots should come apart easily. The soil may or may not fall apart. That's not important. What's important is making sure that these roots stay intact and anything that they're holding on to stays intact. So now we have 2 Gerbera daisies, and this last one here I thought was 2, but it turned out to be just one big one. So we literally showed up with 3 plants for $10. Now the only other issue here is making sure you have pots or ground space to put them in, but we'll figure something out. Look at that. So for $10 on the clearance rack, I just found myself 3 Gerbera daisies. I happen to be a big fan of Gerberas. They pollinate well, they spread well, they're really easy to take care of. They do say full sun, but I am going to warn you, if you live in Florida, do not keep this in full sun. Maybe 4 to 5 hours of sun in a sunny spot, but I can assure you, if these plants do not get shade, they will wilt. Although it says full sun 6 to 8 hours, that is not true for Florida. Florida full sun is a different type of full sun. But nonetheless, we grabbed 3 brand new plants for less than 10 bucks. You can call it a $20 project if we were to buy 3 pots to go for these. $20, floral beauty, jealous neighbors. Tickle tickle. And this was 2 days later, this was 3 days later, and a week later, this is what all three of those plants look like. These two are gonna hang out in the back because they are in unattractive pots and we don't do that for showtime. The other larger plant actually put in an application to be on center stage and it was approved, so she's out front. Eventually, once they're all back up and flowering, I will put them all out. Like I said, I love gerberas. I have a few different colors, and I love the fact that people have to walk by and nearly break their necks looking at this little spectrum of colors that I have. I'll show it to you. So keep that in mind. If you're buying clearance plants or your plants are severely dehydrated when you purchase them, a lot of times you have more than one plant in that pot. So again, let's thank our growers in our nurseries. It's up to you. 100% up to you. You can keep that nice little bouquet so it looks nice and flourishing. Nothing wrong with that at all. That was kind of the whole point in buying a plant, right? However, if you're one of us project people, if you're here, I know you're a grower, so I'm glad you showed up. That's why you have a key to the place. You just come whenever you want. But if you're one of us growers, this is a great idea to keep in mind. Let me go buy a plant, even a clearance plant. Let's see if it's a plant that can be separated so that I can get multiple plants. And now you expand your garden. These things will put out seeds like crazy, so more than likely they'll rejuvenate any areas. Look into your plants, see which ones you can separate. Again, you're probably not going to be able to separate any trees or shrubs, but most of your plants that you purchase are bouquets. There are multiple plants in there. All you have to do is make sure they're hydrated, gently separate them. They will come right apart. Put them in new pots. And just like that, for less than $10, we got ourselves some pretty gerbera daisies. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope this information was helpful for you, and I hope you find a whole lot of plants inside of a couple of plants that you bought. Enjoy the rest of your day.